AI-powered sales assistant, Zia. Ricky Thakkar, here you go. Put your hands together.
All right, hello everyone. I'm gonna dive deeper into this Zia technology that we've been talking about. I wanted to start with just kind of describing the big picture here on artificial intelligence. It's a huge buzzword right now. You hear it everywhere, AI, machine learning, and neural networks, and deep learning, and then kind of wanted to just explain to you why this is such a big thing right now. So the concept of AI has been around for 50 plus years, but only now do we have the amount of data and the computing power along with the advanced algorithms to truly make this something that we can get a lot of help from in our day-to-day lives. So even though the concept has been around there for a long time, you've seen movies like Terminator and Star Wars and all that. We've had the idea, we just didn't have the computing power and the data to do so. Everything you do nowadays, as we know with Facebook being on the news right now, they're capturing every little piece of information you pretty much ever do. So with this extreme amount of data, we're able to then read millions and millions and millions of rows of records, and the AI is able to make predictions. So AI is only powerful if you feed it tons and tons and tons of data. So that's why AI is such a huge buzzword right now. One confusion that people have is the difference between AI and machine learning. Is it the same thing? Well, yes and no. AI is just intelligence that's operated from a machine or a computer, so it behaves like a human being. Machine learning is a subset of AI itself. And why is machine learning the big thing right now? Well, it's because of these advanced algorithms the computer is able to learn. A really good example of how to relate humans to how AI learns in machine learning is looking at like a newborn baby. As they learn to speak and learn to crawl and walk, no one just teaches the baby how to do these things. They kind of naturally learn, pick up things, and learn themselves over time. The computer is basically doing the same thing. So it's working like your brain. Your brain consists of neurons, and machine learning is consisting of nodes, which behave like neurons. You fire through the synapses, then you build on layer over layer over layer. So it shoots all of these kind of signals to one node, and then that node shoots to another node, to another node, to another node. And then those signals are weighted, so it knows that, let's say, if you ask Alexa or Siri, do I need to wear a jacket today? How does it know that you need to wear a jacket or not? Well, through all of the data that is collected from the weather, it's going to weigh in the temperature and then put weight on the heat and the cold as well. And as it shoots through, it makes a decision. And then the more you work with it, the better it will decide whether you or yourself will need a jacket or not, because you're going to keep talking to it. So we've taken that same concept, and you're able to now, in this next phase of Zia, kind of help teach it what to do, like help teach it to decide email sentiment, which is something I'm going to describe. So it's built on the same concept as your brain and built on different layers. So we take this concept. It's fun to play around with your Alexa and your Google Assistant and your Siri and all these other things that exist. But what should it do for business, right? So we don't want to know what the score is for the game or when the next movie is on or how long our Uber is going to take to pick us up. We want to apply it to business. So in business, the reason we want artificial intelligence business, not to scare you away, it's not to take away your job. It's to do stuff that you're not probably really good at and to do stuff that you hate doing, right? That's all it's going to replace. As a salesperson, I myself have always worked in sales. There's a lot of things we don't like doing about our job, such as making so many prospecting calls to people I have no idea if they're actually interested or not. So we can use artificial intelligence to gain more insight about our leads before we call them. So it's not replacing us, but it's going to make us better at our own jobs. Okay, so I took a list of pretty much everything a salesperson has to do. Probably the list goes on and on and on. But if we break it down, we have prospecting, qualifying, then we prioritize our list, we build relationships, we educate customers, we pitch, we negotiate, we forecast. If the sales manager wants a meeting, you're going to have to know what's in your pipeline and what you're going to forecast to close if you're going to hit target. That's all the stuff we have to do every single day. If I break that into two different columns, there's the kind of day-to-day, menial, boring, repetitive stuff, and then there's the exciting stuff where you're actually talking to people and building relationships and using critical thinking, using judgment, using persuasion. And that's the stuff that the AI cannot do. So that's why you cannot be replaced by an artificial intelligence. It can just augment your current day-to-day job. So all the boring stuff, like figuring out if this is a good lead or not, is going to be done for you. Figuring out which lead to call first or when to call them, when to email them, that's going to be done for you. And with some of the slides that are upcoming, you'll see that we're going to use Zia to enrich the lead information so you know a little bit more without having to search on LinkedIn for more information. Then you get to do the fun stuff, which is actually being a human being, talking to people. So ironically, AI makes you more human, right? Because all the robotic stuff is taken out of your job. All right, let's move on. So what AI cannot do, it cannot add emotion into the conversation, right? It's only looking for patterns. It's only crunching all this data, and then using all of that data and those patterns, it's able to do prediction, like predicting the amount of leads you'll convert the next week, or predicting the number of tasks that you're going to have the following week. That's what AI is doing. All it does is feeds data and recognize patterns. There's no way you can make a judgment call or critically think on how you're going to negotiate the deal. Because if you fed it a pattern, it would negotiate that type of customer every single time the same way, which is not possible. Every business, every human, every sale is different, and that's why you still need the human touch in terms of sales. All right, so if we combine together human plus AI, we have less busy work, we get lots of lead insight, that should equal a shorter sales cycle and then better relationships with your clients. That's the goal here. So don't be afraid of it, embrace it, take it on, full speed. It might still be in its kind of early stages right now, but it's going to be something that you're going to see in every single piece of software. So now that we have a basis of AI and machine learning, let's talk about how Zoho is approaching artificial intelligence. So it's kind of going on the same theme here. We're using it to do predictions, helping you to make decisions on where to go next, taking away the routine work, and making everything easier to understand that's on your screen. And you'll see in some of the other apps, we're also using it to prevent errors, and which can lead to ongoing disasters in your business if it's error after error after error. So it'll detect an anomaly and stop it before it can spiral out of control. So that's our approach to AI in general, not just CRM, but to all of the apps inside Zoho One. All right, and so after a little bit of back and forth, we decided to name our AI Zia. Originally standing for Zoho Intelligent Assistant, I would say now it's just got a personality of its own. You can refer to it as Zia. It's not capital Z-I-A anymore. It's just Zia. Zia's just one of the many people now that you'll be talking to on your day-to-day life, along with Alexa, and for some of you, they may be your only two best friends. Alexa is pretty surprising the way you can communicate with her and the responses she'll give you, and that's kind of the same path we're going with Zia. We're turning this from kind of a robotic answers and predictions to a more natural communications. And I think the speaker before was mentioning NLP, natural language processing. Is able to understand slang and localization of words and definitely know what you're saying, and then learn that these are the kind of words that you're going to use when you're trying to pull a report or you're trying to analyze data. So the initial release of Zia was the previous year. I'm not sure how many of you are using it day to day. It was broken down to two categories, predictive AI and personal productivity AI. So we took it from the approach of a sales manager or sales management in terms of the predictions, and then took it from the sales reps level of how to make the day-to-day more productive. So that's why there's two pieces to that. In this next release, and it's currently being rolled out in phases, some of you have seen the new Zia chatbot. There's going to be a Zia voice bot, and that's releasing in phases. The reason that we didn't release it all at once is we test things on the server, make sure it's stable, and then we release the next feature onwards. But it's only a few weeks away. So I'm going to talk about what we've enhanced in the two categories that we've already released, which is predictive and personal productivity. And then we added some more. We have email sentiment analysis and then the conversational AI. So let's talk about enhanced predictions first. So here on the screen, you can see there's a new column on the view. It's called the deal prediction. What this does, it's going to predict, in this particular example, how close that deal, the percent close of that deal itself. And how does it know that? Well, going back to the basis of AI, it's going to crunch all of the data that you've already given it. So the more deals you feed the system, the better and better this prediction will get. It also takes into account how good the salesperson is. It's not going to just look like a lead score, how many fields you filled in. It's going to look at that salesperson's track record and history of closure, and that will actually affect the deal prediction. So if you change it from a really good person to a really new person or a bad rep, that deal prediction would go down. So it's taking that into context as well. The same thing will apply to lead conversion. So not only does it take your data into consideration, but also this salesperson's performance, which makes it, I think, makes it pretty cool. You can see it on the Kanban view as well. So if you break down stage to stage, not only in a meeting can you see what stage something is and how much revenue there is, also the percent chance of closing it based on the data and the salesperson who is working on it themselves. Okay, so you know where to put your focus, where to prioritize, maybe where to coach, where to help, and you can use that information. Let's go into enhanced anomaly detection. So we already have a feature that will detect an anomaly. An anomaly means that something that it predicted did not go as planned, right? Something dropped or something went really, really high. So either way, you should know. So in the dashboard currently, you have anomaly prediction for a number of leads converted or events created or tasks created or notes created. Now, we took that concept in the dashboard and let you pick any field you want. Okay, so now you can detect anomalies on any field, like lead source, for example. So if it goes away from the pattern that it's used to seeing, it detects you. So you don't have to now use the default dashboards. You can create your own custom ones. We added enhancements to the workflow analysis as well. So if you create a workflow rule, without the artificial intelligence, you wouldn't know if that workflow rule is performing good or bad, or someone is actually on two of the same workflows because you actually made a mistake and they're getting the same email template. So it will tell you that they're getting the same email template, if they're going to receive it, so you can cut it before it happens. It tells you if you changed a workflow rule and actually got better, and if you changed a workflow rule and it made it worse. So that way, when you add this automation, you know how the automation itself is performing as well. Then expanding on the personal productivity AI. So we have this feature called lead enrichment. So what this is going to do for you, and this is something probably that you all do all the time, you look people up on LinkedIn and Glassdoor and Crunchbase and try to find more information about them before you call them. So now, using lead enrichment, Zia is going to go on the internet for you and find all the public data that it can and fill in the fields for you. So knowing the company name, in this example is comics, it will find the website, it will notice what industry that's in, it will figure out number of employees, because this is all public data in the first place. This is not rolled out yet, but it will fill in the city, the state, the zip code, all of that, because it's all public data again. Whatever it finds, it enriches it for you. A lot of people have asked about this, how can we get more information about the lead when I don't know enough about them, or I have to fill all this stuff in. This is going to change that game. Now you have all this information, and then allows you to make a better decision on when to call, or maybe to distribute to someone else because you now know the location of that person or the industry that they're in before you even make the call. So that's on its way out. The best time to contact is getting enhanced as well. So how does best time to contact work? Right now, it's looking at your email integration, so it knows if someone has opened or clicked or opened and clicked on the email, and then it takes into account any surveys from Zoho Survey or SurveyMonkey. It takes into account campaigns, either using Zoho apps or third-party apps. It takes into account your phone integration as well. If they've answered the phone, you've left voicemail, if they've called you and left a voicemail, it adds all that information up, and based on that, and so the more interactions you have, of course, this will get closer and closer to a better time. It'll give you suggested 4 times per day to call. So now, if you make a task or an event, it's going to suggest to you when to actually remind yourself for that task, which is pretty amazing. You don't have to choose, I'm going to call at 9 a.m. If you keep scrolling down, it will just say best time. And it will tell you when you need to have that task complete. You can now go to an entire list of records, select all. Rather than select all and mass updating for a task, you can just say, remind me for the best time to call. So the entire list, it will go through and make a task, and using the criteria, it will give you the best time to call for every single one of those leads. Right? So you don't have to plan your day, you let the system plan the day for you. So that has been enhanced on the best time to contact. So best time to contact is here on the top right side. So again, the more integrations you feed to the CRM, the better and better this will get. So if you only give it, send out one email and they open it at 4 p.m., more than likely the system's going to predict 4 p.m. Once you send more and more, it finds averages and it's going to let you know. So we use this a lot internally as well, and so you guys definitely check it out if you're not using it. There's also a best time to email. If you have the email integration turned on, you click on send email. On the very bottom, it tells you the suggested time for the email. You don't have to send it immediately. You can just click that button and it will send it based on the previous email open. So your job is done, but the email will sit there until it wants to send it for you. So that's also pretty cool. So you'll see that there as well. All right, so email sentiment is a brand new feature that we're going to release. If you notice on the left-hand side there's a little sad face. There's a green smiley face. I don't think there's any on that screenshot. And then there's ones that don't have anything. So sentiment analysis is taking the information on the email and letting you know if it was good or bad feedback, right? Indicated by a sad face or a smiley face. And if it doesn't have anything, it's considered like a neutral email. So how does it know that something is good or bad? Well, you get to train it. So it comes with existing data, and you can add you can use the existing data. When it finds words that we know have negative sentiment, it automatically will tag it for you. But the best thing is training the AI. So you can write your own phrases, sentences, things that you know you don't want to hear, and you can mark those as negative and then maybe trigger workflows or escalation rules, et cetera, off of the email inside itself. Right? So the best part here is that you do get to train the email sentiment by adding your own information. So definitely do this, because now you can see on a report if things are good, things are bad, and we're expanding this to Zoho Desk as well, and I'll show you a screenshot of what that looks like. All right, and then the conversational AI. So Ask Zia is a chatbot that's going to be on the bottom right of your screen. Some of you already have access to this, not sure if you've used it or not. Why would you need to use this? Well, let's say you get to work, the first thing you look at, maybe you're counting the leads, you're looking at totals, maybe you're running reports, or you're looking at a dashboard. If you don't have time to do any of that, you can just ask Zia questions. So you ask her, tell me how many leads were created today. Tell me how many deals were closed this month. Tell me the prediction for this quarter in terms of revenue. So you ask questions to the bot, and it feeds out the information. Not only does it feed out a response, it can feed the entire report back to you as well. You can even change the report type. So it comes in as a bar chart. You want to see a pie graph instead, you can change it right on the spot. So screenshots definitely don't do this justice, so I'm going to actually show you how this works. So here we are in my test account. So Zia is located here on the bottom right. Right, so I can pop this up. It gives you a little greeting there. And I'm going to ask Zia some questions, right? So the first question I'm going to ask is, what is the revenue this month? And when I ask this question, it's going to look through all the data, and it's going to provide me the answer. So in this case, it's basically a one-word answer. It's just going to take all the deals for this month that have closed, and there's my answer. Okay? Now I can expand on this. What if I want to see the pipeline? So I can say, show me the deals by stage this month. Okay? And then if I do this, now I can see actually what's in the pipeline. What if I don't want to see it as a list? I can expand that sentence, show me the deals by stage this month as a chart. All right? So now this time it's going to pull a report for me. Okay? So now I'm able to see this information, and I can change it. If I don't want to see it that way, I can look at it as a bar graph instead. Okay? I can even click on the report, expand it, download it, or email it to someone else, okay? Without having to actually pull it from the report section or the dashboards module or the home page. You can grab the report, download it, send it right from this chatbot. So next question, let's see, what are the deals closed this month? Right, now it's going to give me a list of every single deal, and I can also interact with it. So I see a deal here, I click on it, rather than taking me to that deal screen, I can interact it with it right here. I can add some notes, I can see what activities are planned, I can get a history of that deal in the timeline as well. And so this way I don't have to jump around from screen to screen, I get a quick summary. I can even search for customers. So if I search here by an email, for example, who is Cameron@yahoo.com. Oops, I didn't type it right. There we go. So I did search Cameron at yahoo.com, pulls up our lead, and I can then click on it, and then it opens up the entire lead page. So I can send an email real quick, I can see what activities are planned, I can see notes, I can even see a history of conversations on social media and past emails as well. So it's able to search data for you, pull reports, or pull a kind of a summary of information on what's going on in your business for the day, and that you can do it, in, as you see, in 2 minutes, and then you can head off to your meeting. So that's what makes it a lot more convenient. Some of you should have that, and that will be rolled out very, very, very soon. So that is the chatbot. So here are some other screenshots here. Get me the number of leads created this month by source. If you see the syntax here, it's literally just the name of the report that you want with the filter. It's pretty easy to follow. What is the revenue this month? Pulls that. So using all the CRM lingo, you can explain what you're looking for and grab that. Okay, so not only does this chatbot work for out-of-the-box functions, you can now use DelugeScript to expand on it. So just like Alexa has turned into a platform, Zia will be a platform for you to program your own cool catchphrases and motivational words and lingo and jokes and whatever else you want to do. Pertinent to your own business, you can program that in yourself, so you can give it some personality. So we're adding that in a few weeks as well, so you can extend Zia on the developer side. All right, so a video of Zia Voice, which is the very, very first conversational AI for CRM.
As a salesperson, you're not always at your desk. And whenever you're on the move, your sales assistant has to go with you. Introducing Zia Voice, the first conversational AI for sales teams.
Thanks for calling Zia. How may I help you?
Hey Zia, can you please place an order for me?
For which product is this order?
MacBook Pro.
How many units?
25?
For whom is this order?
This is for Mark Davis.
Please check your screen to choose an option. An order for 25 MacBook Pro for Mark Davis has been placed successfully.
Okay, is there anything else on my schedule today?
You have a meeting at 2 p.m. and a flight to catch at 6 p.m.
Great, thanks Zia.
Happy to be of help.